Alright, good morning, evening, night to everybody who's tuning in right now. Thank you for joining me here. It's morning for me right now here in Canada. And today we have something really special actually. We get to cast the Destiny Star League Pro tournament right before the holidays, right before Christmas for you guys. And today we're going to be doing the round of 8. Some, I guess, notable players in this bracket today. I'll just list them off, and you guys can tell me if I've really messed up the pronunciation. So the first match series we're going to have is going to be Arog Fire versus Sly Crab. Round of applause for those guys. That's going to be a good series. That's going to be series number 1. The second series we have today is going to be Exo Striker versus Jaros. And I've seen these two play as well, so I'm actually very, very excited to see what goes down today, guys. I mean, these guys are all high-ranked players. Like, these are Masters GMs we're talking about here, so it's always exciting to see where the meta's at, to be honest, man, because like I'm Diamond 2, I don't know what is going on, just trying to survive. Our third series is going to be Def Mars versus Ryu Yichi, and then the last series in the round of 8 is going to be Christianer versus Sly Crab. And forgive me, guys, if I'm mispronouncing some of these names. But without further ado, I say we hop right into series number 1. It's going to be Arog Fire versus Sly Crab. And it's a PvP. I don't want to bore you guys, so we're not going to start with a ZVZ or anything. But in fact, this will probably be one of the spiciest series you guys are going to watch today. So game number 1 is going to be here on Oxide LE. And I'm just going to start her off. Alright, in the bottom left-hand side, our red Protoss player, it is Arog Fire from Team Alpha X. On the top right-hand side, it is the blue Protoss player, Sly Crab. I'm curious to see right off the bat who's going to throw a Forge down if that is the case. We got a Gateway from Sly Crab and a Gateway from Arog Fire. Alright, so we got 2 honorable Protosses here, or so it would seem for the time being. Double gas taken, almost identical builds for now. Arog Fire just keeping his probe up out front, making sure there's no, weird cannon or pylon placement that he could spot from there. And we'll see Sly Crab head out for the scout at the same time as Arog Fire. And they're both kind of moving over to this this right-hand side of the map here. And I'm not sure if they'll find each other. No. Okay, so good job hiding that probe from our red Protoss player. Now Sly Crab's gonna come up here, and most likely, I mean, at this level of play, boys, he's gonna see there's no second pylon here, and I mean, I hope he notices that there's no second pylon here, because that should be a dead giveaway of what's going on. Back home, Cybernetics core finishing. Arrow Fires was like slightly early, but that's because he was proxying. He was busy, and it's going to be a Stargate opener from Sly Crab. And Arrow Fire, you know what? Like with 2 Stalkers, he should be able to, you know, deflect away any kind of aggression. So it's really going to be up to Sly Crab to make sure he doesn't lose, you know, whatever he decides to make, which I'm assuming will be the Oracle. Now, in a case like that, it's almost better. It's almost better. Oh, sorry guys. I've been using the wrong names. I've been talking about Arab Fire, but it's in fact Sly Crab, who is going to be on the defense. Now, the early Nexus is a good advantage to have, but he doesn't have anything up defending the main probe line, and that might be the problem. Sorry for that. Don't take away my casting rates. Eric Fire also defending his own natural, but he is not really under the same kind of threat, so he's going to be sitting pretty. Twilight Council goes down for Sly Crab now, and I'm not too sure if he's going to be prepared in time. I mean, he's making a forge, but the Oracle's here. Stalker's out of position, so 4 probes, 5. It's a pretty good pick off the bat. 6 probes, 7 probes. That is huge. That is a ton of damage. In a mirror matchup, it's really gonna put our friend Sly Crab behind. And unfortunately, it is not over yet. There's 4 Stalkers here. They should be able to one-shot Oracles now. But I think Arab Fire knows he's just gonna keep those in the pocket until he sees an opportunity. And we see the Forge and Twilight Council going down for Arab Fire as well. Blink Stalkers seems to be what these guys are gravitating towards. And that'll be interesting, because it'll really come down to the micro there and when you see a fight. Oracle's just eager to, you know, kill anything here, but Sly Crab doing pretty well to split his forces and have a defense prepared. And I'm not too sure if Arab Fire is going to go for any kind of early aggression. Throws down the Robo now, and there's no robotics bay in sight for our friend Sly Crab. As he is relying on his gateway force, he's got +1 melee on the way. But I don't know if that is enough to combat Immortals. I really think Sly Crab, if he realizes what he's going to be up against, his prerogative is going to be trying to poke Immortals and keep the Immortal count low for as long as possible. But we'll see if he throws down his own Robo or what kind of tech he goes into. Eric Fire only has been using these 2 Oracles. Some people grab 3 or 4, but oh, he did lose 1 there. Kind of a misstep. Sly Crab sending a hallucination just to scout out here. Both players taking their 3rd bases now. And pretty good defense from Sly Crab after the fact when he lost 7 workers, but it has put him down in the worker count, and you can see that represented in the numbers. There's almost a 9 worker difference at the moment. And Arab Fire looking pretty strong, man. He got a pretty early opportunity to kill a bunch of workers. He's got his Robo on the way. +1 is halfway done. And I think this is that moment of truth. Like, Sly Crab will have to get something done here if he wants to stay in the game. Otherwise, the Immortal count will eventually just get ridiculous. Doesn't have vision up here yet, but I believe the hallucination is on the way. Ooh, and Arrow Fire is actually in the middle of the map, so Sly Crab gets to the other side first. Is he going to do a recall to try to save some of this? No. Picking off the +1 attack, huge pick off. It looks like he recalled to his natural because the main didn't have the energy. And the Blink Micro is pretty strong. I believe Sly Crab has gotten the damage he needed. It would have been good to see a couple workers go down, but that is A-okay. Denying the +1 is huge. He slaps down his +2 immediately, knowing what his advantage is. Sly Crab actually making a comeback in this game, and it's great to see. Let's see what Arrowfire can do here. He knows he's under the clock now. It's only a matter of time until Sly Crab becomes just way too big and outscales him in damage. And I don't see any Immortals here. He's just making observers for now. So Arrowfire, to be honest, is completely behind at the moment. Disruptors would be really nice to see for Arrowfire because he really needs to take some risks. Because the Disruptor might be able to just pop off some Immortals. It looks like Sly Crab is trying to get his Immortal count up, and I don't know, most of this spells out bad news for our red Protoss player. But Sly Crab, he's got an observer on him, and this is actually like pretty big. If you can have the vision of your opponent's army for the entire game, you basically have map hacks, right? Like you know what's going on. I don't want to get into how broken Protoss is, but yeah, that's map hacks. And the funny thing is, Sly Crab yet to make an observer of his own, so like he could just have an observer out because it's pretty natural to do under the threat of DTs and all these other shenanigans Protoss can do. I'm surprised he didn't have it on the army earlier. So he's moving out now, but this is very clever from Arrowfire. He's putting down, oh my god, he put stasis wards everywhere. And now, to be honest, Arrowfire can do as he pleases. He can set up any kind of concave. You can make special shapes and designs around this army if he wanted to. But it seems for now, he's going to stay back knowing he is behind in upgrades. I think that's exactly what he was waiting for. His +1 about to finish. This is a pretty good surround, an excellent catch here. And Arrowfire, just like that, takes the game. Excellent. Those stasis wards were very key in that victory. I hope you guys liked that one. That was very interesting. It was very interesting to watch because it was going back and forth very often. I apologize for the wait, however. I just have to get the next match ready for you guys. Alright, so game number 2 is going to be on Romanticide LE, and I think we can just hop right into it. Okay. On the top left-hand side, it is the red Protoss player, Arrowfire. In the bottom right-hand side, our blue Protoss player, Sly Crab, who's unfortunately down a point now, taking that early economy hit. He did well to lay the aggression back on Arrowfire when he got into the main, but there wasn't really any economical damage besides the +1 being delayed. So unfortunately, Arrowfire could still power through it, and with some well-placed stasis wards, he took that very dominantly. Again, we're gonna get a mirror build from both players. which is typically how it's gonna go in this series unless somebody throws a forge first. So again, most likely we're gonna see, oh, this slide crab throws down. And is that a full? Yeah, it is a wall. So we're gonna have to see if somebody goes for a similar kind of proxy. Eric Fire already in position here. Sly Crab actually looking for a proxy himself. And this is gonna be interesting. Now the game becomes fun, because we get to see these guys kind of shadow box each other in the fog of war out there. Nobody will know exactly what's coming. You could have an idea of what is in meta, but the location is quite difficult to discover. Sly Crab will get into the main base of Eric Fire and realize there's no second pylon. He's gonna probably be smiling to himself because he's doing this exact same thing. And the Robo actually the choice for Eric Fire this game. Sly Crab, nothing thrown down at his own proxy, so he's going to be behind essentially on the tech that he maybe needs to defend this. I'm not too sure. Sly Crab blocking. He's probably not going to let that finish, but he is blocking the entrance for Eric Fire's base. He's chasing this probe down. And this is the legendary probe that threw down the proxy. So he gets away for now. Sly Crab's probe sees him. They just nod at each other and go their separate ways. And he's throwing down his second base at a decent time. I guess he's feeling pretty confident about this, but we do know Eric Fire is pumping out that Immortal, and once the Immortal is out and you get a couple Stalkers behind it, it's going to be a very slippery slope for Sly Crab here. And I do think, honestly, that he is kind of in the unaware right now, because maybe the timing of this attack is almost a counter timing, because you can see he's getting some army, but he's also getting his tech at this moment. And you know, maybe a couple minutes ago it would have been a good idea to do that, but at this point he's focused on spending his minerals in his economy and structures, and he's not really gonna have the army to overpower this this Immortal Stalker force. Blink going down even, so most of his money is being spent in the research and economy. So he's hiding the Immortal. I think this is very clever. The Stalker chipping away at the natural of Sly Crab. Now he shows his own army, and I'm not too sure if he realizes the threat he is under. He probably has an idea as he sees this come in now. Probably full of dread. Sly Crab is very concerned. He knows his natural is for sure dead, but what can he do here? Tries to pick off the War Prism, getting a couple Stalkers killed for it. But the micro is good from Eric Fire. Very well done. Saves almost everything, I think. I'm not too sure if he lost anything there. Very weak Stalkers trying to come down and poke at the War Prism, and they get it. I think that is pretty worth. Eric Fire most likely going to have to reinforce with another War Prism if he wants to keep up the advantage. In the aspect of, you know, microing his units and saving them back, especially the Immortals. But this is really scary for Sly Crab. He has no Robo, nothing to really counter this right now, and he's basically fighting with weaker units against the same type of composition. Eric Fire, again, being patient, waiting for the War Prism to pop. Once he does have the War Prism back, he is safe to secure this. Sly Crab, I'm not too sure what he can do. He can try to get a concave here. He is trying to press the issue, but the numbers you can just see visibly are so low for Sly Crab. He doesn't have the economy, he doesn't have the army. And this is a one base play, so like if he survives, he maybe could do something, but this is a very difficult hold. And you know, with the overcharge gone now, you'll see the noose kind of tighten around Sly Crab. He's trying to pick off the War Prism. I do think that's like the most important unit to get in this army, because if you can get the War Prism, then you can start sniping these Immortals. I really like the Force Fields. The Force Fields are doing a ton of work here for both sides, to be honest, but Sly Crab obviously trying to keep this Protoss army at bay. Tries to get an Immortal, but he gets picked up by the War Prism. Good micro from Eric Fire. Sly Crab trying to do what he can. Both players are obviously very skilled at Blink Micro, but the War Prism advantage is just too ridiculous, man. You can do so many things with it. And he's got 3 Immortals here. Eric Fire behind this also taking his natural. He knows that, you know, he doesn't have to take any unnecessary risks. Loses 2 Stalkers there for free. An Immortal, no shield, half health there. And Eric Fire is going to kind of back off for a little bit here. He doesn't want to lose his Immortals. And a 4th Immortal on the way is for Eric Fire. He's got an Observer here too. That will help with the high ground vision. Sly Crab on the hunt for this proxy location, but I don't know if that was the right time to do this. War Prism getting sniped. I think that's a great pick off. Does he have enough here to hold the shield overcharge? Doing a ton of work, but it gets sniped off by the Immortals. 1 Immortal, almost no health, gets killed. 2 Immortals get taken out here. Sly Crab with an outstanding play there. Sly Crab even getting the proxy here. Will the Immortal get out? No, it doesn't. Huge shutdown there. I apologize, guys. Fion, thank you for letting me know. My God. Sorry you guys couldn't see most of that, but Sly Crab just broke out of an incredible siege that Eric Fire was putting onto him. He is taking his natural now, but I don't know if it is going to be in time, because Eric Fire has his base already set up. He did deny the Robo, but I think Eric Fire has enough to defend for the time being. Can Sly Crab find an opening here? He is trying to, you know, shimmy up onto the high ground from this area, but Eric Fire knows where to defend. Eric Fire sees that Sly Crab has his natural, but I don't know if this is going to be in time. He's just basically behind on tech and economy. He does have +2 about to finish, so that's a pretty good advantage. If his Blink Micro is strong, he might be able to actually overpower this army in due time. But as the War Prism comes out, there might be another attack on the side of Sly Crab. And Sly Crab really, like, this is all he has, his Stalker army here. He's warping in at home. There's no War Prism for him, so he can't reinforce immediately. So Arrow Fire definitely has the advantage of defense here. And he sees everything that's going on, you know, that Observer is very well placed, so you can see that Sly Crab is continuously trying to reinforce this army, and he does snipe the Immortal. That is a huge pick off, and you can see the +2 attack just overpowering these Stalkers. Another Immortal comes out. Sly Crab doing what he can, and he's slowly catching up in the worker count. And I think just keeping that Immortal count low is, like I said earlier, like if he goes just Blink Stalker straight Gateway, he's going to keep those Immortals low. If you get like 7, 8 Immortals against an army like this, there's no way the Stalkers can do anything. A pesky Adept gets into the main, is trying to pick off what it can. 1 worker goes down, 2 workers go down, and the Adept does get cleaned up here. Hallucination coming to check out what kind of army is here for Eric Fire. He just sees continuous Immortal tech. Blink's about to be finished. He did get it pretty late, so he had a disadvantage when fighting against the opponent's Stalkers, who are way stronger. The +2 attack, I gotta say again, is where Sly Crab will shine, and as +3 is being completed, Eric Fire, I'm not too sure if he even has a Forge up yet, and you know, this might be something he's just like a lapse in his build. I'm sure it is a part of his build, but he, with all the commotion and what's been going on, I think he wants to include it, but the time is not right for it now. He's trying to fight, but the blink is really good. The Immortals can't even get to the fight right now. And I think Sly Crab is doing a great job at chipping away at these Stalkers. Eric Fire, if he loses too many Stalkers here, there's going to be nothing to defend the Immortals. And Sly Crab baiting as much time as he can here. He knows he's drawing the army to the top right-hand side of the map. He's only got 4 gates, so he should have 5. 1, 2, 3, or he only has 4 gates. I thought he would have more. This is going to be interesting. Sly Crab still keeping the army busy, and this is so important because his base is not under attack. He is still producing minerals. He's still in this game, and the +3, that is literally what he's waiting on. As soon as the +3, oh my god, the Immortal almost gets picked off. Good micro from the War Prism, and I think Sly Crab lost just way too much there trying to pick off those individual Immortals. His +3 is just now finishing, but man, he lost so many units for that. Eric Fire doing really well there again, just clenching it in the end. I think he would have probably lost if the +3 had finished there. Alright guys, Fion, thank you again for letting me know about the overlay. That was my mistake. So we will hop right into game number 3. Eric Fire with a pretty scary lead here. He's up 2-0. And even though both games, I would say, look like the blue Protoss player was going to make a huge comeback, but Eric Fire just in the nick of time, killing everything, man. Sly Crab probably kicking himself a little bit. He basically had it clenched with the +3 upgrades about to finish. His Stalkers would have been doing stupid amounts of damage, even against like 3 Immortals. So game number 3 is going to be on Lightshade. In the bottom right hand side, it is our red Protoss player, currently up 2-0. It is Eric Fire. And in the top left hand side, the blue Protoss player, it's Sly Crab. Sly Crab, I'm not too sure if he will go for some sort of play of desperation here, but he is probably thinking of what he could do. It's not that he made, you know, a wrong choice in his build order, but I think the timing of his attacks, I think he just lost way too many Stalkers in that last game. Although he was doing amazing, I would say he was winning for most of the match, besides the early rush. And again, both players opening up in the mirror build. No forges this time, folks. Sorry, no cannon rushes. These guys are professionals. And as we've seen Eric Fire in his typical fashion, he's going to try to put down a proxy and sneak something out to start the game off. Sly Crab coming in, and again, to his despair at this point, he's going to realize there's no second pylon in here, and, you know, the game of Where's Waldo will begin. Back home for Sly Crab. Cybernetics Core just finishes up. I wonder what kind of tech he's going to go into. Because he knows basically that he'll be on the defense for some kind of sneaky attack. Eric Fire as well hasn't decided on what is going to be proxied. He's just kind of checking his opponent's base for now, doing a little scout. And I think that's absolutely fine. Eric Fire has a pretty strong lead, and he just doesn't want to make sure, like, he doesn't need to throw this game for any reason. Sly Crab trying to assassinate this probe, man. Does not body block it because it is going to a mineral. Eric Fire looking like he's going to take his natural. These stalkers, they do kill the poor Probius. 2 sentries out. And Eric Fire finished the pylon here, blocking the wall at his opponent's base, and also getting, it's almost like a scout too. You can see what's in the vicinity.
Our pylon is under attack.
Right. Looks like the players had to pause, but the game continues. And he's finally going to break that wall and get that pylon out of there. Eric Fire with a pretty nice start to the game. He hasn't proxied anything, but he did do a little bit of mind games to Sly Crab. So you can see Sly Crab has produced more units just in terms of defense. I imagine Sly Crab thought an Oracle was going to fly in. Both players just sending a hallucination out to scout each other. Twilight Council going down for Eric Fire. But you can see Sly Crab ahead again in the tech and upgrades. Sly Crab has a very sharp build timing, and he's done this every game, I believe, so he's almost won every game with it as well, mind you, so we'll have to see what he goes for, but you can see this time Eric Fire almost has a similar army composition in mind. And if that is the case, he won't really have an advantage against Sly Crab's early +1. But we'll see. It doesn't look like both players want to fight anytime soon. They're just kind of defending and continuously scouting each other with hallucinations. Eric Fire sending 2 adepts, just checking out here. He is going to see the 3rd just there. So he must realize Sly Crab is not going to be threatening him anytime soon. The Adepts trying to shade into the main. They will get up here. Let's see how many workers you can get. Great force field there, catching one of the Adepts. 3 workers go down, 4 now. That, not bad to get a couple probes, but great defense from Sly Crab. Eric Fire chronoing out his blink, has his +1 on the way, but again, Sly Crab has the advantage in the timing there. And Eric Fire now throwing down his 3rd, so he's also behind in terms of his economy. His bases will be up later. Getting his 3rd gas now. And I'm not too sure. I think Sly Crab, again, just going to play for, you know, kind of a mid to late game timing where he gets his +3 ahead of his opponent. And it is a huge difference in damage. The DPS is pretty insane at +3. Stalkers chasing down other Stalkers. The Great Escape. What will we see here? Sly Crab does have the upgrade advantage, as you can see already. Hiding the Stalkers in the bush there. This is pretty cheeky. Decent micro from Sly Crab, but again, he doesn't have the numbers here. He's picking off what he can, so he's getting a pretty decent trade for that. And again, keeping his opponent's army away from his bases. Eric Fire, 3rd is up now. He's trying to saturate it as quick as possible. You can see an explosion of gateways at his main. But no robo for either player, so they're just going to be playing Blink Stalkers. Oh, as I say that, I see Sly Crabs. So Sly Crab does have one. He's got the Observers out. There we go. I was going to say, that was weird. Yeah, the Observers are essential because any player could, you know, kind of be cheeky and throw down a Dark Shrine if they notice that their opponent doesn't have a Robotics Bay. Sly Crab probe ? For scout, Eric Fire just probe scouting. So he knows that the army's at home, and both players just kind of securing their thirds, and looks like they're gonna get their robo plays up. Eric Fire with the robotics bay and 2 robotics facilities now. Looks like Sly Crab also going for a similar kind of build. I like the static cannons back home. It's kind of gonna, as the game goes into late game, it's gonna nullify any kind of weird dark shrine like timings, you know, DTs just popping up in all of your bases. So that's really, really smart from Sly Crab. Eric Fire has its own cannons up now as well. And the +2 on the way, but you can see Sly Crab +2 just finishing now. If he slaps that +3 button, the clock is ticking. There we go, we see it in action. Now he has a small timing, a window of timing where he will do way more damage than Eric Fire can probably take or defend. Doesn't look like he has too many shield batteries here at the third, so this is a pretty vulnerable base. Sly Crab opting for the forward fourth rather than making a line around the edge of the map. As you can see, Eric Fire is hoping for the latter. Sly Crab, though, look at his timing. He's heading out. He knows there's a fourth. He smells it. And as he pushes up, he'll be able to try to snipe this. Look at the damage. Will force the cancel. So great job denying the fourth there. And Eric Fire not able to make it here in time. He does have 2 disruptors with this army. So he'll try to force a blink before he pops off any of those Novas. Sly Crab, he got what he needed, so he's just going to come back here and continue to defend. And the blink disruptor is going to be very interesting. War Prism back home here, and I think we're going to see a fight shortly. It really is up to Eric Fire to kind of take the fight, because he is even right now in the upgrades, but you can see +3 attack for Sly Crab is very close to finishing. And let's see what Eric Fire can get done here. This is his, I guess, Eric Fire's window for an even fight. Sly Crab taking down this disruptible rock just to make sure he can get a good concave in case the fight happens here. Eric Fire just going straight for the fourth. He realizes he's behind in the base race of economy. Huge disruptor hit there, and he's picking off reinforcements here at the fourth. I can't believe Eric Fire got this. This is a huge pick off here if he gets this Nexus. All the workers that are here as well. Sly Crab defending what he can, I suppose, but look at these disruptors just zoning away the Stalker army as Eric Fire actually leaves without finishing this fourth. Oh, huge blink on the disruptors. We're going to see a Nova. It does not complete as he picks off the disruptor. And a lot of disruptors killed here. Eric Fire in pretty big danger. Those Novas are huge. Sly Crab taking a very surprise lead here. You can see the +3 paying off in aces, man. And Eric Fire just has nothing really here to deal with this. He's behind in the upgrade, and there's no disruptors in sight. One pops out and just gets eliminated. And another disruptor being warped, but it will not complete, and he doesn't even care at this point. He just has such an advantage in Stalkers. The +3, you can see, doing tons of damage. DTs come out. Is there an observer here? There's no observer here, but the Stalkers can do... Alright, there it is. And there you have it. GG. Sly Crab fighting back. His build finally paid off. You can see it was very close in the last 2 matches as well. Wow. Wow. I really thought Eric Fire had it there when he took the fight at the fourth. But holy, the +3, as soon as it kicked in, it became a little too much. So it is 2-1. Sly Crab putting his name up on the board. And let's see what happens in game number 4. This is going to be on Jugnatha LE. And I will get that game started for you guys right away. Alright, in the top right hand side, it is our red Protoss player, Eric Fire. In the bottom left hand spawn location, it is the blue Protoss player fighting to stay in this tournament. It's Sly Crab. And Sly Crab finally, probably some of the pressure is off of him after that last one. Just in terms of, frustration and not being able to secure the victory with his build. But you can see the early upgrade timing, what it can do for you. But again, it is a double-edged sword. Eric Fire had a very close call where I think he could have won if he had taken the 4th. And the fight with the army at that point, because they were even in the upgrades. Eric Fire showed a little, I think a slightly better disruptor control as well earlier. But as you saw, once the +3 kicked in for Sly Crab, he could just output so much DPS. But very well played by both players. This has been a great match series. In typical fashion, Eric Fire does not like making his second pylon at home. But I think Sly Crab is pretty used to that now. Last game we saw he did have he had defense in his mineral lines for any kind of oracle play. So even though he can't find the proxy, it's going to be a Robo this time. He does accurately predict how many army units he will probably need to defend at a time like this. Ooh, Eric Fire blocking the ramp with his own pylon, and he sees Sly Crab has the early nexus. Eric Fire's probably smiling right now because this is a rush. This is the rush he did in game number 2, I believe. It's essentially a 3-gate Robo. But the Robo's proxied, so the Immortal gets there so quickly that it's kind of ridiculous. And he did cancel his pylon, saving the resources because he wants to get probably more Immortals. They are very expensive, especially this early in the game. Eric Fire showing his Stalkers, showing that he is here scouting. And you can see Sly Crab just kind of shimmying about, and he's getting his own Stalkers out as soon as possible. There you can see the 3rd gate on the way. And yeah, this War Prism is basically what's going to trigger the start of this attack. And Sly Crab, oh my god, he's making probes, he's probing up, he thinks everything is alright, but it is definitely not alright for Sly Crab. The shield battery goes down, but I don't think it's going to be there in time. It's going to have very low energy at the least. And here's the War Prism popping out, and we're going to see the start, possibly the start of the end by the looks of it, guys. The probes being pulled to fight as well. Sly Crab realizing what kind of danger he's in. One Stalker goes down immediately. The probe's just getting picked off for free at this point. And Eric Fire, honestly, after that shield battery dies, yeah, this is basically GG here. He even saves the Immortal from getting picked off. Really good micro from Eric Fire. Just a clean engage, a clean timing. And to be honest, like, Slycrab did very well, but flawless execution from Eric Fire that game. That was a little nutty. I can't believe it went down like that. I was rooting for Sly, but I guess he didn't think that Eric Fire would do it again. But Eric Fire definitely did it again, and he secured it. Great counter. That was just a clean build counter. Guys, if you're enjoying the show, these tournaments are put together by Destiny Star League. Please do follow on their Trovo account and stay tuned for definitely more tournaments being casted here. They have weekly tournaments, and then they have you know, all different levels of play. There's diamond tournaments. There's a Masters division, and also obviously a GM division where under 18 players play. So these are up and coming StarCraft players that you might see in some of the bigger global tournaments down the line as well. But what a first series. We're gonna hop into series number 2, and I'm really excited about this one because it's going to be Exo Striker versus Jaros in a best of 5. So game number 1. We're just going to load it right up and get into it. In the top left-hand side, it is the blue Terran player, Jaros. And in the bottom right-hand side, today our yellow Protoss player, Exo Striker. Now this is going to be special. Both these players are very skilled players with a variety of builds and tactics. And TVPs are always exciting to see. So let's see what they kind of go for here. I imagine these players will both go for kind of economy builds to start this series off. I wish I could translate to you guys what they're saying, but maybe somebody in chat knows. Alright. I mean, just to start things off, I don't know if that was... I don't know. That might have been a misclick right there. A little bit too eager to spam. Probe gets in here, and this is a typical Probe Scout timing. So he's going to see that everything is A-okay here. There's no proxied barracks or anything weird like that. And he's probably just going to make sure he tries to deny the command center as long as he can, taking his own early Nexus. Exo Striker being extra pesky here. But yeah, like the CC can be thrown down anywhere. You can just lift it and be off. Probe Scout. Oh no, the Probe Scout is dead. Sometimes that's the way she goes. I mean, most often you do see the Reaper opening, but this time Jaros going for a Marine. So he will be banking that gas. I imagine this is going to be an early Hellion timing. Maybe even a Hellion drop, since he is being very keen on keeping his gas exactly where he wants it. Exo Striker, pretty standard, goes for the Twilight. I was just waiting to see what he was gonna opt for. So this is a quite an early Twilight Council. So obviously we're going to see some, most likely some blink aggression. Marine here getting a couple early pot shots off on this Adept, but it will get eliminated. The Adept denied at the ramp. Exo Striker just, you know, scouting, making sure, yeah, everything's normal. 2 Marines at the front now, 2 more on the way. And I guess my prediction was wrong because he is building a tech lab here. Starport also on the way. The 2 Adepts continuously just trying to shade up the ramp, but most likely they will not get in. These guys are too good for that kind of play. They are always looking. You will not catch them unaware. As Warp Gate's about to finish up for Exo Striker, he throws down a Robo and another Gateway. And here come these Adepts again. Always checking. Always checking. And they get up to the 3rd base location here. And there is no command center on the way for Jaros. At least not yet. So we might see this be more of a timing attack rather than a you know, straight economic build into 3 base. The Adepts kind of being cheeky here. I think they got a worker, perhaps a worker, but he does see that the army is moving out. So the Adepts did their job to scout, but Exo Striker might be in some trouble here. He doesn't really have an army at home to defend. He's got almost half the army supply. Trying to get the Adepts home. Picking off Marines here and there, that's really good. That's going to help. There's no tank here yet. Already a handful of Marines get picked off without tank fire, so that is pretty good for Exo Striker to start off, at least. Now, this is pretty scary. Exo Striker needs probably like 6 or 7 Stalkers to be able to hold this. No Immortal on the way. And Jaro's still flooding out units. The medevac is getting sniped, but the blink was pretty good there. Oh no. I think that was a little bit of a miss micro from Exo Striker. He moved commanded into the Terran army. So these are some bruised stalkers at the front here. And the fight isn't over, and the Cyclone I think is a great addition. Yeah, he doesn't want to lose that Cyclone for free. The lock-on is so useful. Oh, he does eventually lose the Cyclone and the medevac, but the Marauder... Or, sorry, I thought... It's not a Marauder, it's a Viking. It just looked like a Marauder. Shield overcharge, doing what it was made to do, and what a hold from Exo Striker. I think it was very clean when he picked off the Cyclone and the medevac there. Excellent micro from Exo Striker. The blink really coming in clutch for him there. He could defend that very well. And the shield overcharge just in the nick of time to hold. The Observer is going to get to see everything going on in the Terran main as Exo Striker moves his Stalkers out as well. He has an opportunity to just blink wherever he would please because there's no detection yet. So Jaros might be caught off guard here. I think a scan goes down at the 3rd, realizing he's even a base behind. Exo Striker saturating that base at a very alarming rate for Terran. Now the CC getting made, so Jaros clearly was trying to go for a kill move there, but it did not work out. So he's going to be playing on the back foot for a bit. Yeah, these Stalkers just keeping Jaros honest. I think Exo Striker wants to know as soon as an attack moves out, he doesn't want to be caught almost in the risky position he was last time, because that was a very last minute scout, and he did well to hold it with the limited time he had. You can see these Stalkers blink up to their right here. I think they have a very clean opportunity to get into the main. Terran's gonna have to scramble to get out of here. The Observer does finally go down, and it looks like we're gonna see a little Zealot run by. I think that might be very clean. but perhaps they're just there to flank tanks in case an attack. Extended thermal lance on the way. Upgrades for both players en route. Terran is just getting his stim combat shield and concussive shells, whereas Protoss is going to have the Colossus thermal lance extension. And this is going to be pretty scary for our Terran player because, as mentioned, he is behind, and with the Protoss taking such an economic lead, it's going to be pretty hard to break through this Protoss army. These Colossus are going to make mincemeat out of these Bioforces. Oh, he tried to blink the unit away, but it actually hit still a bulk of the Colossus and the Zealots. And this is a lot of tanks here. If he gets a decent siege position, Extra Striker is definitely going to lose perhaps a gateway. Cheeto dust everywhere. This is huge. Disruptor shock going out now. I think the tank fire is just way too much, man. He can't close in here without going for some kind of zealot flank. And he definitely can't attack while he's got Cheeto dust all over him. And this is a... this really hurts. This kind of siege is pretty devastating. Charge lots going in. The Colossus doing pretty good, but the tanks are firing them. One Colossus went down. I think he focus fired all his tanks on the Colossus. And the Zealots just shred through those Bioforces there. +2 about to finish for Protoss, so he is looking very strong indeed. And with the army supply lead there, I think the third base is definitely in danger. The third, being an orbital, will not be able to fight back in this scenario. And there's only one tank here. That's not much for defense. The Disruptor itself, there's 2 Disruptors, 1 Colossus here, handful of Stalkers. Extra Striker just showing that he has a much, much more sophisticated army right now. And it's not even the 10-minute mark yet. Disruptors, Colossus, Stalkers. He's making 2 Archons at home for defense as well. And his 4th is under attack. The drop most likely going to be able to deny this. He will have to cancel it. But what will he get away with here? Marauders kind of keeping Protoss at bay here with the concussive shells, but these units are getting just picked off as they waddle back home. Yeah, he's going to have to stem just to get away. So low, those Bioforces. And the medevac count isn't quite there yet to be able to sustain in a serious fight. With the Colossus here, the Disruptor, I mean, the splash damage in itself from the Colossus and Archons is ridiculous. And I think Jaros just lost way too many tanks in that first push there. He had a pretty good foothold, but the Protoss economy just able to pump out like a stupid amount of Zealots. And you can see Exo Striker, he's probably going to gear up for an attack as he maxes out. His +2 is complete, +3 on the way, and +2 armor are about to finish up. Nice little Zealot drop in the side here. I think that's really cheeky. Does get a couple workers, but what it really does is keep the Terran army at home. Dark Shrine complete and DT Blink being researched. I think that's really cool. We might see like Jaros be like flanked by like 8 DTs at his main or his natural, and the CC will just get lifted or might even lose it depending how engaged he is up here at the front. There are ghosts with this army, so they can knock off some of the shields, but this Protoss force is just huge. Tanks getting killed immediately. There's only 1 tank here now, and he tries to EMP this, but the Disruptors, Colossus, and Stalker army just tearing right through Jaros, and GG. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in on this wonderful Monday What a day to watch some Destiny Star League Pro matches. So for those of you just tuning in, we only casted the first series, and we're on the second series right now, going into game number 2. Alright. So Exo Striker taking a pretty clean victory there. He was just quite far ahead in his upgrades and his tech, and so many tanks died that game. So let's see what Gyros will go for in this game number 2 here. Alright, in the bottom left hand side, it is our blue Terran player, Gyros. And in the top right hand side, our yellow Protoss player, showing a very clean execution last game. It is Exo Striker. And let's see what happens this game. I don't think Gyros had a poor build or anything like that. I think the timing of the attack and a little bit of the micro earlier is what got him killed. And you know, in terms of Exo Striker, he just did very well to lay the aggression on that army as the rush came, and he chipped off almost a quarter of the Marines before the tanks sieged and even started the attack. So Exo Striker, realizing he was being rushed and defending just very well, which put Gyros behind by quite a bit, as he did not want to continue the game. It was supposed to be a kill move, but Protoss coming out ahead. And more or less same opening from Exo Striker. Gyros going for the Reaper opening this game, so perhaps a different build. And the CC does go down this probe. Just, you know, being pesky over here as far as damage goes. He's just an ornament floating around the Terran base. Exo Striker, he's blocked the high ramp here. The Reaper will go across the map to scout, and we'll find a very typical looking Protoss base. Things to note: both pylons are at home for Protoss, so he can probably guess there's no proxies yet. And maybe this Reaper will be able to get a couple shots off on the pylon, question mark? But probe comes up here, scouts, sees that the CC is on the way, and the bunker will be completed soon as well. And now the Adept comes up here to try to get at this Reaper. And the Reaper will live to fight another day, so the Adept will shade across the map to do that Adept dance at the Terran's natural, trying to get into the main of the Terran base. Looks like we are going for no tanks this game, but I'm curious to see what the Terran player will go for. The Adepts get up in behind the natural. The bunker will not be in range to shoot it there. Actually getting into the main as well, but I think Gyros wanted him in the main. There's not too much to see here that would be out of the norm. And in that way, he's actually cleaned up the Adept Scout as well. So pretty good job by Gyros, leaving his doors open for Exo Striker, welcoming him to the warm embrace of death. Alright. So this Oracle might get a ton of damage done. The Viking is on the way, but it's very close. Like, the timing is just seconds here. We're talking about, folks, seconds. And the Oracle is going to start going to town on these workers. It has the potential to get a ton of work done, but he realizes the Viking's on the way, and he will get it out in time. Well done by Exo Striker, getting what he could, but not losing anything for it. I think a pretty strong start so far. There's even a Phoenix here to defend. It's going to lift and start doing... Oh, okay, there's the other Phoenix. And this Hellion will go down. Exo Striker just playing really well. Hasn't made any mistakes yet. I mean, minus the one Adept, but I think that was just... I think that was okay to be able to get in here and scout. You know, just knowing how many barracks there are in the main will kind of tell you the timing of Terran pressure, and as of yet, there is none. 4 Phoenix flying in. There is a Widowmine that goes off, a Cyclone, and 2 Vikings here to defend, however. Jaros showing some gusto on his own end as well. I think that was a great defense. These Phoenix are basically not allowed to go attack anymore because they could all just be instantly wiped out. And there's so many Marines here that if they did come in, they would not be able to get anything done. And you can see for the Terran player starting to get those barracks counts up. He's got the tech lab on his first barracks now, so we'll see those upgrades start to roll in. Protoss with his +1 on the way as well. He accidentally made shield battery, it looked like, there for a second. But more gates on the way for Exo Striker as well, and he's getting the Observer, which is really going to help in keeping the Terran on tabs. Yeah, it looks like Terran is pretty well prepared here for any kind of attack. His 3rd command center this game is on time, as he wasn't going for any kind of early rush. So definitely a different build order coming out from Jaros. Less aggressive, but the defense is very, very good here. As you saw, typically that Protoss opening can do a lot of damage, the 3 Phoenix and Oracle. But he basically shut it down for the rest of the game. I think that was great. Phoenix flying in, just taking a look at the army, seeing what's there. Protoss's 3rd gets scanned as well, so Jaros, it can't be a good thing when you scan the 3rd and you see it's oversaturated. Jaros knows that Exo is probably just rolling in money here. So it's only a matter of time. I think the Otis is going to be on Protoss to make a push out here. Ooh, 1 Phoenix immediately gets sniped. It overextended slightly. And you can see these observers just placed very well in case of any drops, any kind of weird sneak attacks coming in from the south of the main base here. Exo Striker putting down his 4th, rightfully so. Like, look, it was super crowded here at the 3rd. It looks like he kind of might have oversaturated there by mistake, but he's spread out his forces or his workers across his base as well now. Now I'm wondering if that was a mind game to just show your opponent there's like a billion probes at the 3rd, or it could have been a mind game, man. Like, these guys are smart. Exo Striker, like the way he's positioned his army, even he's hoping that Jaros would get baited into coming to the 3rd. You can see Jaros has no intentions of doing that at all. He's moving straight for the natural, and here comes Exo Striker. The tanks are not yet sieged, but there's a huge concave for Jaros. Exo Striker will have to back out. You do not want to sit there and take tank fire. But really well done to move out and kind of slow this push as he can fortify. And that tank position is just greasy. There are no charge lots yet, so these are slow zealots. Phoenix comes in, picks up one of the tanks that was really big. That was huge. And this will get cleaned up. So poor Jaros trying to make an opportunity out of something, but it just didn't work out for him. Exo Striker again defending very, very well. He just bought enough time, got another Colossus out, got a couple more Zealots in there to tank some damage, and really, really clean defense from Exo Striker. And Jaros probably a little bummed out that he lost everything there for that. We got EMP range upgrade on the way. +1 armor being made as well for the Terran units. But now, you know, this puts Gyros in a very risky position where he has to defend on 3 base, but Protoss has his 4th base up. Upgrades are flowing aplenty for him. He's got more gateways on the way. He's just putting gateways wherever he can. He's got his Templar archives already up. And he's putting Archons into this army, and the splash damage is just going to be insane once those Archons get there as well. I don't know, guys. I think Gyros, you know, the way he has to defend this, his army isn't the most maneuverable to defend 3 bases at once. So it's really up to where he places his army. And this 4th is going to get denied, putting Gyros further behind in economy. And this is just way too much, Protoss. War Prism going down immediately, but I don't think it will matter because this army is just huge. Zealots just getting right on top of the bio. Vikings doing really good to pick off the Colossus, but there's still Disruptor Archons and a handful of Stalkers here. And the Protoss army just kind of getting shooed away for now. He's going to lose a Disruptor for this. And those Vikings micro just perfectly to snipe out the Colossus. He pulled back his bio forces into a choke for the Zealots so they could not be efficient against the bio army. And really strong defense from Gyros, but unfortunately the 4th was denied, which was the main objective for Exo Striker. So although Exo Striker lost a bunch of units, he has a ton of money and he can, in fact, tech switch maybe into something that counters what Gyros is going for here, which looks like a bulky bio army. You can see how many Marauders are here. Disruptors are really going to come into effect if they get some lucky shots off here. And you can see Liberators now, but the attack is on the way. The Libs are not sieged up. He's going to have to set this up very quickly. There we go. Disruptor shot goes out, and these Libs get picked off for almost free here. A bit of a blunder by our Terran player, but what can you do when there's Disruptor shots flying at your bio units? He's going to try to take a fight here. Excellent EMP. That Disruptor shot, oh my god. That's the kind of stuff that will end games, and Exo Striker just kind of finishing Gyros off that game, I would say, with a huge economic lead. So a 2-0 lead for Exo Striker, just showing exactly how strong the Protoss race can be. Gyros did very well to defend what he could, but he was just too far behind to be able to scrape by. And now we'll head into game number 3. In the top left-hand side, our red Terran player, it is Gyros. Currently down 2-0 in this best of 5. Hopefully he will survive this match. If he wants to stay in this tournament, he needs to make a clean sweep. He needs to come back with a reverse sweep, not a clean sweep. Exo Striker currently going for the clean sweep in the bottom right-hand side. Our yellow Protoss player looking almost invincible. I don't think he took damage at all last match. And just playing out of his mind. Gyros, I'm not too sure what Gyros can do to answer for this Protoss player. Somebody needs to put a leash on Exo. And let's see if Gyros can pull it off. Same opener from Exo Striker, just blocking the Reaper path on that jump spot there. Gyros, no proxy, no kind of cheese. The probe will get up here and start attacking this SCV. He's getting actually a ton of hits off there. I'm not sure if Gyros is reacting in. Okay, he does stop. He does stop the probe, but the probe is going for the kill. He's hungry. That probe is a hungry boy. Back home for Exo. It's got the Nexus up. So all pretty standard. And Gyros is going to try to get his CC up as well. So very much like the first two games. No real change in the build order. As a matter of fact, I lied to you guys. There is a change in build order. There's no Marine or Reaper out this time. He's going straight for the reactor and an early factory. And I believe this could be that Hellion Rush I thought he was going for in game 1. If that is the case, if he gets 3 Hellions out very quickly, they might be able to do a ton of damage because there's not too much here to defend. The Adept will go out and try to get something done, but nope. Looks like it's going to be quadruple Marines. If that's the case, if he's going for the early Marine count, then he's going to slap down the Tech Lab on the factory. And we're going to see another one of those early pushes with a handful of Marines, a medevac, and a tank. And these Marines doing pretty good job just to keep this Adept at bay. But the second Adept will join forces here. And these can easily clean up the Marines for Gyros. So Gyros has to be a little careful here. Exo is just probing up. He's getting his second saturated pretty aggressively. No shield batteries yet, but he's made a gateway and a robo on the front of his natural. And that's kind of risky because not only is your most important tech in your wall, but the tank can just take that out of the equation once you get sieged. And here we're going to see that medevac is complete. There is a tank out, second tank being queued up, and Marines continuously being produced. So this this attack we're going to see probably in the next minute or so. I'm not too sure if Exo Striker can really defend this. His gateways are on the way. At this moment, he only has 2. And that's not much in terms of producing a capable defense. And I think Gyro's just waiting for that second tank. Is slightly later than when he attacked in the first match. So Exo, not a... this might actually be really bad for him. He's got the Warp Prism on the way, but of course the Warp Prism in defense can only do so much. You can juggle units, but you only have 4 units, so you're not going to be able to output the damage you need. He's getting more now. For what I think, he realizes the attack is here. Exo Striker doing what he does best, trying to delay the attack, trying to get some Marines for free, but this is where this becomes a really big problem. I mentioned the Robo is at risk here, and that's your most important tech against a rush like this. Immortals would help a lot, but nothing is going to be done. He made a observer as quick as he could, but what is really here to defend? The bunkers being put down, he can't deny those either. The tank fire is just too much at this stage of the game. There's no blink on the way. There's no charge. His gates going down in number even, so the reinforcements are soon to be non-existent. He's got 1 up here, 2 more, so only 3 gate production for the time being. You can see he's trying to kill reinforcements with this set of units here, but he is going to lose his natural with the basically no effort from Gyros. So huge win for Gyros at this moment. scanning the high ground, seeing really it's just stalkers here. This isn't much that can be done in terms of defense. And is he gonna get the charge done in time? He is trying his best to let that charge get finished, and I think he. Oh my God! It is so close. Wow! I think that might be it. Denying the charge, really huge. Even the reinforcements taking care of anything that was in the middle of the map, and Jaros coming back, not getting swept in this best of 5 today. Exo Striker just kind of caught unaware by that attack. Usually he has a Adept just shading continuously into the Terran's main to try to, get the vision and the scouting he needs. But that time I think maybe he just didn't scout as aggressively, feeling pretty good after the 2-0, I imagine. But I think Exo Striker is still in a very strong advantage here, being up 2-0. Jaros needs to win his next 2 games back-to-back to be able to make it into the next round. So let's see. We're going to hop into game number 4. All right. In the top left-hand side, it is our red Terran player, Jaros. And in the bottom right-hand side, our yellow Protoss player, representing Team Alpha X, it is Exo Striker. Exo Striker, I think he got countered really hard last game, and partly due to he didn't have a scout looking for that early rush, so his reaction was almost when the attack was at his natural, and that's when he started to prepare a defense, but it was far too late at that point. So Jaros clawing back into this match, getting a point on the board, and I'm not too sure what he's gonna go for this game, but at least he's got some confidence that he can take some match points off Exo. And Exo will come in here with his probe scout, this time getting immediately met by another SCV. And most likely we'll just see him take his Nexus. So, both players, again, they open very, very similarly in each game. But we saw when Jaros went for the early rushes, the first time it didn't work out in game number 2. And it put him back quite a lot in economy. So if Exo can muster a defense against some sort of rush like that in this game, I think he'll be in good position. But it'll be interesting to see what Jaros does go for this game. I'm sure he feels confident about that build, but it might not be a good idea to do the exact same build again, because Exo will not likely make that mistake this time. We have the Adept here, just shades over the Reaper. That was pretty funny. I'm not sure if he's going to send it back, but this Reaper can have some free shots at this probe here. We'll get it most likely. Oh. That was weird. So the Reaper did not want to kill the probe. He was just firing warning shots. And in fact, actually gets picked off by the Adept. The Hellion and Reaper meeting the Adept in the middle of the map, but Jaros is already down 1 Reaper, essentially putting that little squad to rest. And the 2 adepts do move up here, and there's really nothing to defend. He's just going to deny this expansion here, putting Jaros kind of in a pickle. He will not be able to expand on time. And again, you see Exo Striker just taking that economic lead. He hasn't done anything too crazy, but basically Jaros has made a couple missteps, putting Exo Striker in a very favorable position. He even gets into the main, starts picking off workers here for free, and there's one Reaper. Cyclone does come out. This is really going to help with the defense here. But Jaros still getting a Reaper there. And another worker. Did he just get out? He manages to shade away. I don't know if... I think Jaros does not know where that adept went. So here comes the adept again. Okay, it will get cleaned up by the Cyclone finally. But that was incredibly annoying, I would imagine, for the Terran player. You can see already he's lost so much to start the game off. Jaros putting on a little pressure of his own. He is obviously a little pissed off. But Stalkers are pretty good against Cyclones if Jaros makes a misstep. And they're going to get ready here at the ramp. Let's see. Jaros should just probably... Yeah, he needs to keep these units alive. War Prism coming out now. And I think Exo Striker has realized there's no tanks at home. So this will come down to the micro with these Stalkers and the War Prism. He needs to pick off the War Prism if he wants to stop this attack. But the Cyclone just taking pot shots is very low health Cyclone there. And this is going to be a scary Stalker push here. Zealot Charge is also about to... Oh, sorry, it's just starting. Zealot Charge will help down the line, but I don't even know if it will get to that point. Let's see the defense here. There's one tank on the high ground here. But the War Prism micro is pretty good. It's a very low health War Prism now. Is one gonna... Okay. I think this attack... Yeah, this attack might be over, but again, gets in, gets a ton of damage done, and I was wondering, like, wait, why did the probes leave? It's because this Viking is being pesky, but even that will get cleaned up here. And Jaros holding on. He is slightly behind when compared to the Protoss player. But he did well just to deny that that early Stalker attack. We can see the Stalkers moving out again. And I think that's a pretty good idea for Exo Striker. He doesn't want to get caught off guard again with Terran at his doorstep. So it's better to keep the aggression on this side of the map. SCV Scout, just for good measure. I think he did see the robotics bay completing here. Stalkers getting in where they can, but the tank's in a really good position here. And Protoss will have to back out yet again. His third is up, and he is probing up like a madman. He has opened his tech up into the Colossus tree branch, and we've seen him go into the disruptors down the line as well. Now, I do believe Jaros is preparing to counter the Colossus, but I could be mistaken. But he has to have an idea that it is Colossus. He's seen Exo Striker do it in multiple games now. And hopefully Jaros this game has that ideal Viking count to be able to pick those Colossus off. To be honest, the sooner the better. Extended Thermal Lance on the way. Protoss with his +1 attack about to finish as well. So you can see Exo Striker just rushing those upgrades out. And when the time comes to take an engagement, he will have that advantage just ready for this Terran player. A couple Widow Mines mixed in here with the army that will help kind of kill the charge lots in case a fight breaks out. But really, the Colossus are the issue. And once he realizes that, the mines won't really do too much. So this is going to be really interesting. Jaros is pushing out. He's got a decent unit composition for his army, but really it's all comes down to the setup, and it all comes down to whether the engagement is going to be in his favor. There's a lot of sieging and burrowing he has to do before he can take the fight his way. So let's see what's... Exo Striker has a pretty strong army here, man. You can see charge lots are here, and there's a lot of them, so they will take the bulk of the fire when it comes down to tanking hits. And I think this is a great position for Jaros, but he needs to get set up right now. This is kind of late. Tank's not even sieged. This is what I was talking about. Exo Striker coming in hot here. And Jaros going up into the main, but he leaves the tanks free for picking. And he's getting economic damage done here. He's going to shut down some pylons. Throws a turret down as well. But is he producing more army behind this? Will he be able to defend after the fact? Even getting a handful of units out, I think that was pretty good for Jaros. In terms, as good as trades could go against Protoss, just a rich Protoss who could just instantly remake his army. For now, he's going to have to repower everything. He is going for his 4th base, but Terran's here looking to deny as soon as this comes down. Does not get the opportunity to cancel. That is a 400 mineral deficit for Exo Striker. Jaros showing his stripes here. Like, the aggression is pretty good right now. The Protoss is kind of caught off guard, and we see Exo Striker trying to regroup his forces, recalibrate his build, and trying to get back on track. He throws down his 4th base once again. And Jaros didn't have this kind of advantage in the last few games. Usually he was the one behind a base, getting his bases denied. But with the Colossus and the Disruptors, this is a pretty lethal Protoss army. One with which, if you make a misstep, they could just kill you with a few short blows. Jaros, you can see, is kind of getting into a defensive stature of his own, putting down his 4th base. You can see Protoss is almost complete, so Exo Striker took a couple of hits, took a little bit of a beating there. He is behind in terms of what he's lost. You can see a ton of gateways getting thrown down for him. Double robo production. He's just getting ready. Even a Dark Shrine on the way in case he sees an opportunity to send some DTs to mineral lines. Jaros actually going for another drop, but this is gonna be a little weird because Protoss is going for a kill move. And Jaros, realizing that the army is here, I think he's trying to spread his units. Oh no, a bunch of Vikings getting picked off for free. Jaros with a huge misstep. Perhaps he actually did not see the army, in which case this is really bad. Viking count so low already. They do pick off 1 Colossus, but at this point this is more about the Disruptors. Ton of Stalkers, bunch of Disruptors here, and a couple Archons. He lands a pretty decent EMP on the bulk of the Protoss forces, but Protoss just heading into the 3rd, instantly shooting down that command center, and you can see Jaros kind of has to stay away with the threat of the disruption Novas. Oh my god, the damage is starting to stack for Exo Striker. The Colossus count is no longer a threat, but Terran just can't engage this army without possibly losing everything. And another base goes down. Terran losing his 4th, really behind now. Huge Nova hit there, and I think we're going to see a GG here. Vikings on the ground fighting, but that makes them even more susceptible to disruptor hits. And yeah, Exo Striker just looking unstoppable here. GG, well played by both players. Exo Striker just coming out clean in that last match. Even though Gyros got a ton of damage on him, he did trade it for his entire army almost. Alright. So the next series is going to be Def Mars versus Ro8. And this is going to be a PvP. So game number 1 is going to be on Light Shade LE. And we'll get right into it. In the top left-hand side, it is our blue Protoss player, light blue Protoss player, Ro8. And in the bottom right-hand side, we have our orange Protoss player. It's going to be Def Mars. I've seen both of these players play in other Destiny Star League tournaments. They're very, very strong players. I don't think I've seen them in a PvP, not off the top of my head. So I'm curious to see what'll go down, and kind of see how their personalities affect their build order choices. But for the time being, in a PvP, this is a pretty standard opener, unless there's a forge. Usually it's this, the double gateway opener, or you see a forge go down right off the bat. So no cheese yet, but for the time being, it does look like Ro8 going for a proxy. Def Mars opting to keep his pylon close to home. But he has not scouted yet. So kind of going into this blind. And we'll find out if Def Mars is just being a little greedy, or if he will be well prepared for this in time. And we are going to see the Stargate opener here from Ro8. So let's see what the first Oracle will be able to get done. He is making a Stalker and a Sentry here, which is pretty good. The Sentry will be able to provide some hallucinations just to be able to scout your opponent, but that will delay the second and I guess third Stalker from coming out to defend the Oracle. But we'll see. It really comes down to whether Def Mars is going to be jebaited into pulling his army down into the natural, which could be very well the case. It does look like Ro8 is going to put a little bit of pressure on here with these adepts. Again, this is just for show. This is just to keep the army here. He does shade. Okay, he cancels the shade in time. Good pylon block by Def Mars, not letting those adepts in. But you can see one Stalker is just way out here chasing these adepts, and only one Stalker here defending. Meanwhile, the real the real play was this Oracle. The Adepts are now have done their job more or less. Oracle attacking a pylon for a bit. Adept fighting a Stalker one-on-one. And you can see Ryuichi has 2 more Adepts here ready to fight. And the Adepts do get in, so we're going to see these probes get killed even more. 11 workers already taken out. Really great opening from Ryuichi. Sends in the second Oracle. That's going to get some work done. And at that point, yeah, like he could have saved it, but it doesn't matter. It's almost worth to get the workers because Def Mars is in such a deficit now. Ryuichi taking his natural. And really all he has to do is defend from this point on out and play normally. Because he is in quite a lead. You can see Def Mars gearing up for an attack. He has to make a move here. He cannot sit idly back and try to catch up because it's way too late for that. Oracle coming in, getting 3 more workers here. Does not get picked off. Yeah, and that further twists the dagger in Def Mars' back. Ryuichi just coming out with a very spicy opener. Yes, the prediction in chat is that Protoss will win this series. 100% accurate. And let's see what Def Mars can do. This is basically an all-in for him because he doesn't really have any hope of of coming back here. I really like that the sentries block the ramp and there's more than enough energy to continuously block it. Def Mars just coming in with a very clutch play. The Immortal is out now. There's a Stalker up here as well. 1 sentry getting picked off immediately. Great job powering down that the gateways there. And he recalls into his main now. And Def Mars will just clean out his forces. Good force field to deny the units again. And this is just really pesky. But Def Mars, like I said, this is an all-in. He's going to win the game with this. Because if he doesn't, I think he will not be able to make a comeback. And yeah, he does eventually get overwhelmed with the Phoenixes. Ryuichi taking game 1 with the very clean build there. Everything went to plan. And Def Mars kind of got debated there, man. What? No. No. Oh no. You're kidding me. Okay. Might be a slight interruption here, folks. Blizzard has just announced that they're doing some updates. I don't know. I'm just gonna try to relog. I don't think they're doing updates. I think they're just their splash screen wasn't working for the login. Thankfully, they're not updating StarCraft. They're just updating their websites, so that's fine. Alright. So game number 2, Def Mars versus Ryuichi. Alright, in the bottom right hand side, it's the red Protoss player, Ryuichi, representing Team Exxon. And in the top left hand side, it is our orange Protoss player, Def Mars, from Team 3D. Def Mars really getting caught off guard with the Oracle opener last game. And just really well played by Ryuichi to use the adepts to just pull the stalkers further and further away from home. And we'll have to see what kind of shenanigans go down in this game. But from the looks of it, the same openers, no forge yet, no cannon rushes in this match series. And yep, we're just going to see the same opener from both players at the moment. Mirror builds. Defmars again not opting to scout. We did mention that last game that he only scouted perhaps with an hallucination. But I don't even think he had time to scout. So he did not know there was a proxy. And Ryuichi again going for another proxy here. And that's and maybe that's just Def Mars's style. He goes into the sentry so he can just scout with the hallucination and not use the probe. But I don't know. It didn't pay off for him last game, kind of being in the dark, especially in a mirror matchup. I think the scouting is one of the most important things to be able to counter what your opponent is doing. So this game, Def Mars just getting the 2 stalkers up. Nothing weird going on yet, but we'll have to see what kind of tech he goes into. Ryuichi making his robo facility at home, so no proxy out on the map besides the pylon. And he will get his probe back home safely. These stalkers will not be able to kill it. So 2 more stalkers going down, and we can see the Twilight Council. So most likely, Def Mars is going to have some Blink Stalker play coming up. Whereas Ryuichi, you can see Robotech will probably start producing that Immortal. But it'll be nice to see if he gets an Observer out first, just to be able to keep some tabs on Def Mars. So he's gonna actually go for the poor man's Blink Stalker rush, and this is actually gonna be kind of scary if, again, Def Mars is not in the right place at the right time. You can see Def Mars is gonna have his Blink up eventually, but I'm not sure if it will be ready in time. And that's the kind of the advantage of Ryuichi's build. The poor man's Blink is all about using this Warp Prism to simulate a Stalker Blink. And as you can see, you can implement this kind of play much earlier than your opponent's Blink will finish. So this is a lot of stalkers, and again, Def Mars not scouting. There's nothing out on the map like looking for an attack or anything like that. And Ryuichi can just continue to reinforce. He's getting more warps in for stalkers than Def Mars is, right? And now the attack begins. Def Mars' Blink not yet complete. There's a shield battery here which can help. Ryuichi picking up his stalkers, backing off, so the window of opportunity slowly shrinking for Ryuichi, but I don't know, I think Ryu has a pretty good opportunity still, as his stalker count is just more. And he's trying to one-shot some of these stalkers down. He is beginning a micro with the Warp Prism. Good juggles. There's no energy on the shield battery, no energy left for an overcharge, and we're seeing these stalkers just go to town now. A couple zealots out, but they're going to be shortly taken care of. Ooh, Ryuichi trying to finish this off. I think only maybe 1 or 2 more warp-in rounds, and it might be over for Def Mars. Def Mars stepping out of his protective zone. The blinks are really good. And does he have no Robotech, nothing like that? He's defending with purely Stalkers here, and every time he moves out, I start to sweat a little. It gets a little scary for him. He's pulling all the probes to defend this now. He knows this is like an all-in. If he gets the War Prism, this fight might go his way. The probe's doing actually a ton of damage here, but the Stalker count is so low now. He does have Blink still. He can reinforce faster. Ryu still just trying to work his way through with what remains here, but with the attack all but finished, I don't think he has much of a chance here. Even with 10 workers killed, you can see Def Mars at a clear worker advantage. Ryuichi just going for the all-in, poor man's Blink, Stalker Rush, and it didn't pay off for him this time. Def Mars heading across the map. What a bold move. Ryuichi's War Prism just goes by them. Ryuichi also going in for his attack. And I mean, if it comes to a base race, then obviously Def Mars is at an advantage. Def Mars will recall his entire army actually. And yeah, this is the shield overcharge is good, but it's gonna get picked off. And we see Ryuichi target firing a bunch of Stalkers. Def Mars blinking back what he can. But he is chronoing out an Immortal, and once that Immortal is out, it will most likely be where Ryu taps out. Ooh, War Prism getting picked off again. And really, when the War Prism gets picked off, there's almost no chance of being able to continue the push or continue to fight. Well played by Def Mars, coming back to tie the series up 1-1. All right, jumping into game number 4 here. Or, pardon me, game number 3. In the top right-hand side, we have our teal Protoss player. It is Ryuichi. And in the bottom left-hand side, the orange Protoss player, securing his win last game. It is Def Mars. And Jugnatha LE, which is the map we're playing on, is a very long map vertically. So there's quite a travel distance. There are these speed zones which kind of compensate for that, but in the grand scheme of things, there are very long travel distances, so proxies here are super popular, especially in a PvP. But I'm curious to see who will do it, who will go for the proxy. Def Mars, we've seen him just play safe. Ryu kind of being the guy to go for some decisive plays that are meant to trick your opponent or catch them off guard. Yeah, pretty much, again, identical openers for both players as we had seen in the last match. But let's see, will Ryu go for that proxy pylon? Or will he make his pylon back home? you'll see again Ryu, the one scouting. Def Mars kind of going for a blind build here. Actually, Def Mars does get in and finally see a supply block from Ryu. This is a slight mistake, I'm sure. That's gonna put him behind just by a fraction, but at this level of play, I do believe any kind of mistakes, they do tend to stack up very quickly because your opponent can just take advantage. In lower divisions, however, like usually both players are making so many mistakes, or they're so inefficient that it just you can't really put a number to it. Now these stalkers are gonna meet these adepts here, just in the nick of time meet them, and it will turn Ryuichi back around, and we can see Def Mars. He's got his proxy this time. Okay, Def Mars, he's gonna be making some DTs, and Ryuichi actually went for the Oracle opener. Now the Oracle, it may be able to get here and do some damage eventually, but there are stalkers here for defense. Now the concerning part is there will be absolutely no detection here, and typically in games like this, you will tap out. You will tap out as soon as the DT's first swipe. You hear it go, and then you GG, because you just don't have any tech in terms of in terms of detection. And it looks like he recalled all his stalkers, but not the Oracle, which the Oracle is really the only thing that could drop a revelation and detect these DTs. And he actually spends it here. He just revealed the Protoss base, which unfortunately for him means his Oracle will not have energy. He's not making a new Oracle either. So yeah, guys, let's look at Ryuichi's cam here and see how long it takes. He must see it. He must see the ripple. I think he's too focused on the build right now. We'll probably just see him GG. There's not too much he can do. You can see just all the workers getting killed.
They're attacking our cute little probes.
He is trying to chrono that Oracle out. This Oracle has not enough energy. Chipping away even at the stalkers at this point. And he does reveal 2 of the DTs.
Our pylon's under attack.
But at this point, 27 workers have been killed. And there's virtually no economy. Yeah. Def Mars with a straight up build counter. I did not see that coming. Very impressive though. I think that was a really good build. I'm glad I have these replays. I can play around with some of these builds and use them in my Diamond League. Alright. So Def Mars coming out ahead. He is 2-1 in the series. And this could be match point for Ryu. If he doesn't come out with a point here to tie it up 2-2. So let's see what he can get done. In the top right hand side, it is our red Protoss player, Ryuichi. And in the bottom left hand side, the orange Protoss player, it is Def Mars, currently leading 2-1. If he can secure this match, then he will move on to the round of 4. But will Ryuichi let him? Mostly, yeah. No forge, nothing cheesy, nothing like that. Def Mars had a very... I mean, there was nothing Ryuichi could have done once he'd used all his Oracle energy. He tried to hang on for a bit, but yeah, like 27 workers killed. I think he was just taking it all in. We're gonna see both players go for the 2-gate opener. And Ryu coming out for a scout? Or could it be a proxy? He does enjoy proxy. Comes in, scouts, sees the second pylon at home. And this time he is not going for an immediate proxy. So identical builds so far from both players. Once the Cyber Core is up, we'll see what they want to go into. And Def Mars looking to expand at his natural. Well ahead of Ryuichi by the looks of it. And let's see, Ryuichi's still here, being pesky, he can scout everything. So maybe that's why Def Mars opted to not throw it down. It really looked like he wanted to throw it down, but with the active scouting, I do think he's changed his mind. He threw the Twilight Council down. He's defending his natural. Perhaps he wanted to just fake Ryuichi out, making him think he's expanding. But again, these are very high level players. Perhaps they know that, you know, this might just be a mind game. My rule of thumb, at least in Diamond League, for PvP, ends up usually being first person expand dies, because in NA Diamond League, PvP is just usually all cheese. Double proxy, robo, like crazy stuff. Void Ray rushes. So that's a lot of that, but you can see these guys sticking to their guns, going for the macro play. Both players getting their Nexus up. And almost identical builds in terms of the tech path that they're going down, but Ryuichi with a late Twilight Council, sorry. Their robos, however, are almost at this same time. So Defmar is just really getting that stalker count up. We're gonna have to see if he gets that Warp Prism out immediately. Blink being completed for Defmars, so perhaps just an observer to get some high ground vision. Ryuichi just now starting his blink. Both players getting their observers. And a shield battery up for Defmars at his expansion. Likewise for Ryuichi. So both players playing very similarly. Defmars with a clear advantage as he has blink out already. But let's see, Ryuichi could... He does have Guardian Shield on those sentries, which could really help. And yeah, I think Defmars can see that he doesn't really have an overwhelming stalker count. So by all means, Ryuichi can defend this well enough. Perhaps he'll want to poke through the south, as that would be where he can find a strong foothold to jump up to. And there's no shield batteries here, so that is a clear advantage to be fighting up here rather than at the natural. If he gets that observer, that'd be huge. In fact, loses his own observer, so he can't see this observer now. Defmar's playing a little bit of mind game, gets in, picks off a stalker immediately. The immortal is out now for Ryuichi as he is defending here. A very aggressive push by Defmars. One immortal back home for Defmars as well. And I think we're going to see these guys just kind of go into the mid game with this stalker composition. A forge going down for Defmars, so definitely playing for the late game. He's got his third Nexus up on the way, and I imagine Ryuichi, once he spots that, is most likely going to scramble to take his own or go for an all-out attack. You do see his Nexus getting thrown down as well, slightly behind. Free observer pick off here for Ryuichi. Defmar just scouting the army, making sure he's not being attacked. Hallucination flies in here, will spot the third and how far along it is, and sees the bulk of the Stalker army. I'm not sure if it actually got a glimpse of the Immortal, but Ryuichi has seen a Robo, so it could be assumed that that is very likely a part of the deal here. Okay, so Warp Prism almost complete for Ryuichi. No Warp Prism here for Defmars. He's opting to go into the Robotics Bay, most likely to get those Disruptors out, but Ryuichi kind of gonna get caught off guard again. Defmars rushing across the map to the third base, and he will get a cancel on it. Ryuichi deciding, you know what, I'm just gonna go for your third, and that might be a very good play. Let's see what happens. Will he pull the boys? Will he get some kind of recall here? I think Ryuichi can just take this and perhaps recall to defend, but oh no, he's pulling his boys to defend his natural. Defmars instantly recalls after taking out the natural, and now Ryuichi is the one behind a base. Yeah, and there's no way you're fighting up that ramp. Defmars chasing Ryuichi down. He even has the Disruptor out here, which will help a lot in keeping Ryuichi back and zoning him. And Defmars with just a huge advantage right now. He can just mine and produce far more than Ryuichi, so the longer this goes on, the worse it is for our red player. Ryuichi jumping on the army, but he just doesn't have enough firepower here. Immortal finally joining the fray, but what exactly is left? Warp Prism gets picked off, so does the Immortal here. And Defmars just has way too much reinforcement advantage as well. Alright, so that series goes to Defmars. He will move on into the round of 4 for the Destiny Star League Pro Tournament. And that will bring us to our final match series for today. So this is going to be Sly Crab, or sorry, Hydra versus Christianer. And this is going to be another PvP, best of 5, and we'll see which one of these Protoss are going to get into the round 4. Seems like a lot of Protoss getting through in this tournament, by the way the brackets are looking. It's a sad day for any Zerg, it looks like. Alright, in the top left hand side, it is the red Protoss player. Hydra. In the bottom right hand side, we have Christianer. And he is our pink Protoss player. So let's see what kind of style these guys like to play. We'll see if both guys just throw gates down or if somebody is cheeky and likes to go forge. Nope, we will see both players just open with the double gate. And I'm not too sure. I don't think I've ever seen these guys play. Not too sure what kind of styles they like. But I could imagine that this is going to be very similar to the builds that we saw in the last match series. So it's really going to come down to more execution versus pure build order difference. Yeah, the Blink Stalkers is almost like always what the Protoss will be going into for majority of their army force. No proxies yet, both players just opting to keep everything close to the chest. And Hydra coming in for the scout now, will confirm. Second pylon's also here. And yeah, more or less mirror builds from both players. Maybe a second off on the gateway for Christianer. And we'll see the build orders break apart now. It'll be double Adepts versus double Stalker. Stalker's usually just more beneficial in case of an Oracle opener. Whereas the Adepts, they're abusive characters, right? Like the Adepts will continuously come in and try to shade it into the mineral line to get some value. Hydra throwing down a pylon in Christianer's wall. Does cancel it when he sees the Adepts pop out. It's a neat little trick just to see what army unit your opponent's starting off with. And he gets the Stalkers in the bush here. Hoping to catch Christianer. But Christianer cleverly taking the long route. And to be honest, I think he'll be able to shade in here if Hydra's not watching right now. Hydra does catch it in time. 2 more Stalkers being made. And you can see he pulls back his Stalkers, realizing Christianer has fooled him once. Otherwise, very similar worker counts and army supply. We do see Hydra with that Oracle opener. And maybe he opted for the Oracle opener when he saw the 2 Adepts, which is, when you think about it, a smart way to decision make, as you know your opponent just has Adepts at home. Christianer does have the shield battery at home, so it'll make it harder for the Oracle to get kills, but it will get a couple. But it obviously will not be that game-ending economic damage that you would see without the shield battery. And this is a lot of Adepts. There's 1 Stalker here. He's not going to be able to do much of anything here. And he does put down the wall, but the Adepts will start chipping away at this gateway, and it's almost broken. And the Oracle gets recalled because this is such a threat here, and these Adepts, oh my god, this is very scary. He does cancel the shade, opting to get some more workers here. Just single-handedly picking off 11 workers. He will lose almost all the Adepts. I think he did lose them all, yeah. Not one shaded out. So he does lose all the Adepts, but he has a pretty good advantage. That would be worth it, killing 13 workers. Christianer basically just has to defend now, not lose 13 of his own workers, and he will be taking a decisive lead in this first best of 5. Immortal almost complete here. He throws a Forge in, the Twilight Council down. But does he have enough? He is banking energy on the Nexus, so possibly one shield overcharge. But is he watching right now? Okay. Okay. And the Oracle's in the back, poised. Now I'm curious if these Oracles are going to go straight into the main, or they're going to come help. There are a handful of Stalkers here, so it's not going to be the best. It's not going to be the value he needs, I should say. 4 workers picked off. Not bad, but again, clearly behind his opponent. And then we see Blink on the way for Hydra that will kind of help in the fight. But you can see Blink is also on the way with +1 comboed in for Cristiano. So he's looking in much better condition than Hydra. Hydra now throwing down a Forge. I don't think there's a Robo on the way, so no War Prism for Hydra. So he will be defending for quite a while. Oracle's getting ready to try to make another attempt to get in here and take out some of these workers. But you can see Cristiano is almost prepared to attack. Yeah, he was just waiting for the War Prism. And even if Hydra gets in here, gets some workers killed, will he be able to defend his main is the question. He's being very greedy. There's no shield batteries thrown down here, which kind of leads me to believe that he thinks he can take any fight with these Stalkers. But you gotta remember, he's gonna be down in upgrades and the blink advantages on both sides. So Hydra just unaware, like completely unaware of this. 4 workers do get killed by this Oracle. But again, he's basically trying to claw back into even footing, but he did lose a lot earlier. His economy is slower, his tech is later, +1 attack is not going to be done on time, whereas Cristiano is here ready to take this fight right now. A couple sentries comboed in here as well for the Guardian Shield. That's huge. Yeah, and you can see almost virtually no damage being taken for the time being. The Immortal finally gets picked off, but there's just way too much here for Cristiano. He'll take a lead with a 1-0 in this best of 5. Game number 2. This one's going to be on Light Shade LE. In the top left-hand side, it's our red Protoss player, Hydra, currently down a match point. And in the bottom right-hand side, we have Cristiano, who secured a pretty clean victory in the last game with a very strong timing attack. Just as his blink and +1 finished, he struck Hydra when he was not prepared. There was no shield batteries, and just with pure blink stalkers, he could not hold the fort. Just same openings from both players for now. Cristiano with that very, very strong adept opener last game. It got so much damage, even if all the adepts were killed off. The amount of workers that he took out in the beginning really eventually led up to the army supply defense, the earlier upgrades, as Hydra had to rush to rebuild those workers before he could continue with his build. And both players opting to keep their second pylons at home, so no cheese yet, no proxies. Hydra getting a full scout of everything that's going on here. Christianer also sees that it is so far a mirror build. And here we go again. We see the double adept coming out of Christianer. And will he get that same amount of insane damage to start the game off? I'm not too sure. But Hydra probably going to do a similar Stargate opening. I really like this. Christianer is switching it up slightly, just ever so slightly. This time he's going for his own Stargate. And an Oracle comboed in with these adepts can be pretty hard to deal with, just in terms of splitting your attention, directing your APM to defending at different parts of your base rather than just fighting head on against two stalkers or something like that. Now, we've seen this happen today in the other match series, where if you do jabate the stalkers away from home, the Oracle can get a ton of damage done. We see a pretty clean defense so far. Hydra not letting those adepts in, but you can see the stalkers, how far out they are at the time. Both players about to get their oracles up. Warp Gate research is about to be finished. Hydra is pretty well prepared back home. He's got two stalkers there. Will Christianer be ready as well? He's going for the shield battery. And he's making four. He's gonna have four stalkers, but it looks like he's actually going for a push here. And I'm not too sure if those two units saw each other. They might have just slipped by. And here's the Oracle going to work on the other end of the map. Christianer's Oracle is here as well, but there are stalkers here defending. Christianer still managed to get more kills than Hydra. You can see how annoying the shield battery is. It really slows down the amount of DPS these Oracles output. Meanwhile, there is an attack at the front base. Christianer has two Oracles here now, and he's starting to chip away at the defenses for Hydra. What a well-timed attack. Another Oracle comes out here to help Hydra, but you can see the unit counts are just disappearing for our red player. He's going to warp in another Stalker, but these Oracles, they will survive. So a great exchange for Christianer. He lost virtually nothing at home and got absolute value on the other side of the map. Both players managing to kill 5 of each other's workers. Hydra's got 2 more Oracles set up here, ready to jump in and get some more kills as soon as their energy permits them. But so does Christianer. Hydra is getting prepared to defend here. And this game looks like it's going to be a lot closer than the last one. Forge and Twilight on the way for the Blink, but Hydra already with his Blink upgrade on the way. Slight difference in their builds again. No Forge in sight. He usually gets it a little later. But again, you're going to see that advantage for Christianer as he gets his upgrade earlier. That when he micros and mixes in the attack upgrade advantage, the battle just kind of like tips in his favor naturally. But let's see. Still no robo from either players. See more gates get thrown down, so Cristiano clearly staying 2 base, and he's probably going to go for a kill move in a couple minutes. But Hydra, can he scout and predict that indeed he will be attacked shortly? Hydra making one gateway of his own, but that's not going to cut it, especially if he's the one on defense here. Cristiano has a timing in mind. You can see he's got the robo on the way. He's going to try to time all the upgrades with the warp prism and a couple rounds of stalker warp-ins before he goes and attacks. Unfortunately, he loses both oracles here too. Might have been a slight overstep. Hydra coming out, taking his third. But, you know, Cristiano has no intentions of taking a third of his own. So Hydra should be kind of, you know, a red flag should be going off in his head. A probe did start to make a movement this way. It just got picked off by these oracles. So Hydra coming out here to fight now. Leaving, unfortunately, his main base ripe for the pick-in. Cristiano, no immortals on the way. He's got 3 stalkers here for defense, but he sees that Hydra is here. He's pulling all his units back. Hydra, first to strike, usually has the advantage. And he does have blink. He can escape at any moment. Stalkers blinking after each other. Half of Cristiano's forces caught up in the time prison. And an excellent stasis ward placement. And you can see Hydra just cleaning up these forces of Cristiano. Even though he has an upgrade advantage, he just has half the army count that he normally had. And Hydra, like, a pretty clean pick off there. Lots of army units got killed. These 2 random stalkers are also going to get picked off here. And if we look at the value, Cristiano still done some damage, but Hydra clearly ahead. And this kind of spells trouble for Cristiano now, because he was going to go for a pretty decisive attack timing and just clean Hydra up. But now Hydra wiping out half of Cristiano's army, being cheeky, saying he's going to try to shade 2 adepts and they're going to dead. Yeah, there's no way. Once they get spotted, the blink stalkers jump right on them. Hydra secured his 3rd base. It's saturated, and he's going to be a very, very rich Protoss aristocrat. And okay, goes for the observer. More gateways being made. Cristiano knows he needs to do something right now. If he can't get the value back, or if he can't end the game soon, I think he will just be outscaled and eliminated from this game. But let's see. Hydra's got a ton of stalkers here. He's got 2 shield batteries at very favorable positions. They can't be picked off easily. I think he's going to be able to defend quite well, man. Cristiano jumping in with the blink, picking off what he can. He does still have the attack advantage. But does he have the money to be able to do this? Trying to pick off the overcharged shield battery. Zealots going to town on some workers, but they continue to fight stalkers again. And I think that's right. I think you do need more here. You can see Hydra, once the Warp Prism gets picked off, this attack is over. We might get a no GG. Cristiano not happy about that game. So Hydra ties it up 1-1. Game number 3. In the top right hand side, we have our pink Protoss player. It is Christianer. On the bottom left hand side, it is the blue Protoss player, Hydra. And Hydra coming in clutch last game, being first to pull the trigger, attacking Christianer, but the big brain play really came down to that MVP Oracle that threw the stasis ward just outside the natural, which completely caught Christianer. I'm sure he's going to be looking out for stuff like that this game, in this best of 5. I mentioned this last time, Jugnatha, really big map. If you're trying to end the game early, typically you will go for a proxy, but we've seen both these players kind of play a little bit more macro styled. Nobody's really cheesing or going for anything cheeky yet. And we'll see Christianer come in for the early scout. And I mean, everything looks as per usual here in this PvP. So we'll have to wait and see once that cybernetics core is finished, what these guys are gonna try to play at. Christianer here just to see what pops out, I suppose, first. And interesting, he went for the Sentry Stalker. Comes up, sees a third pylon being put in the base, so for sure no proxies. Same with Hydra, identifies that there is no proxies. Now, this is something Hydra likes to do. He'll have this just to scout what pops out. And you can see Christianer purposely moved this unit over here so he wouldn't see it. Just little things, little details. Hydra moving out with his stalkers now. Believes he'll have an advantage in this strike. And you can see here, once the Stargate finishes, we're going to see that Oracle play again. And I think Hydra might go for another kill move, similar to what Christianer did in game number 1. Okay, the Stalkers are staying home. So perhaps he has decided that he is going to defend an Oracle. But there's no Oracle on the way, so there is really no threat yet. He saw the Phoenix, right? So he just had to prepare. It is, however, a hallucinated Phoenix. Both players with their naturals about to be taken. They're pumping the probes out. Christianer ready on the other side of the map for an Oracle attack. I believe he has seen this with the hallucination by now. Yeah, he has seen the Stargate, so he knows exactly how to defend this. And we should see the game just mosey on over into the mid game. Oracle the Oracle poked in, but as I mentioned, Christianer is prepared. Christianer now with his +1 already on the way. He didn't spend it on the starport, so he has the opportunity to take a upgrade advantage there. Both players going for blink again. Cristiano with 4 gates now. Hydra only has 3 for the time being. So we'll have to see if by the time Cristiano's +1 finishes, if he decides he's going to go for an attack at that point. Stalker's headed out on the map. Cristiano must be preparing a defense now. He has a Robo on the way. That's really going to help if he can get an Immortal probably some point during the fight. 1 shield battery also being made, but it will be limited on energy. And to be honest, he isn't banking the most Nexus energy, but it'll be enough for 1 shield overcharge. What I worry about is this Artosis pylon at the front. It is pretty far up there. Good job shutting down the Stasis Ward. But yeah, this pylon up here, if it gets shut down, then the Robo will be null and void. Stalker's starting to pop off some shots. They're starting to blast. Huge debate again. Hydra getting Cristiano in the worst way. Now, he basically will not be... Oh my. This is such a smart play from Hydra. Big brain. Really big brain. Cristiano kind of getting too eager, getting baited out. Does shut down that Robo. No War Prism for you, sir. And Hydra with a clear lead. Even though he's 3rd behind this, Cristiano finally, you know, his boys get freed from prison. So he's rushing across the map. He knows he needs to get some damage done. But I think Hydra will be none the worse for wear. I think he has plenty of money, plenty of gates on the way. And the longer this goes, the worse it is for Cristiano. Yeah, and I'm not sure if he can really make a play from that edge. The natural is completely open. He did basically just walk up here and then walk back. Perhaps he could have gone in, but you don't really know what's behind the Fog of War until you get there. And perhaps it would have been something that would have gotten him killed. But now, this should be an excellent opportunity to just jump up into the main. Oracle trying to be pesky back home, but it will not do much of anything. The force field's nice, but these Stalkers, I believe, all have Blink. Excellent Guardian Shield. That's really going to help, especially Cristiano already has an attack advantage with that +1 melee already complete. Hydra realizing that he is in deep shit here, and the probes are pulled. And just an extra warping of Zealots there to tank some damage. And really, I think Cristiano has done it. What an excellent opportunity he spotted, and he took it with full force. Things have completely gone his way. The War Prism untouched here. And he will take a lead 2-1 in the series. Alright, game number 4. This is going to be on Submarine Heli. On the top left-hand side, it is our pink Protoss player, Cristiano, currently up 2-1 in the series. And on the bottom right hand side, it is our blue Protoss player, Hydra. Name's a bit misleading, might I add. But I think this is a European player, Hydra. I've heard of Hydra. He's very good. Unfortunately, today doesn't seem to be his day, as Cristiano coming out with seemingly just a stronger build for the mid game. The early attack upgrade we've seen Cristiano get in both games that he won seemed to be pivotal in how he breaks Hydra. I definitely think if the attack upgrades was not that early for Cristiano, Hydra maybe would have been able to hold that, but again, it was a great look. He got right up on the high ground and took full advantage of that. And I think Hydra is going to be definitely a bit more cautious about keeping an eye on Cristiano's army there. Cristiano coming in to scout will find everything up to snuff. Just doing a Protoss building inspection, and looks like everything's up to code. Hydra doing the same. Nothing cheeky coming out of these players. I believe we'll see a very similar game to the last one. But let's see. Cristiano looking to take an early expansion. And I think once Hydra will go see that, and he'll make a split-second decision whether he's going to go for an all-in or whether he's going to take his own expansion. But you can see Cristiano this almost is like might be a fake here. So when Hydra left, he saw the pylon here, saw the probe sitting there. He's thinking, oh, okay, you're expanding early. Okay, I gotta take my own expansion, and then that's an appropriate reaction. But these guys are masters, high master, either like rank 1 master or they're GMs, depends if they have been frequently playing their ranked games. So this is actually big brain. He is slightly delaying his Nexus, but the payoff will be this little sneak attack that's going to come out. He's getting stalkers as quickly as he can. There's no blink on the way. Blink is far from being complete for both players. In fact, just starting now for Hydra, who is ahead in his tech. And yeah, there's no Twilight Council, so this is going to be a Stalker all-in. Just a pure, non-blink, regular Joe Stalker all-in. And, you know what? Just the number of Stalkers that are going to show up here will be enough to just one-shot anything they please. There's no way a shield battery can even overcharge to help, because they'll just pick that off as well. And unfortunately, Hydra has no idea this is coming. He's been played for a fool in this match here. And he is probably panicking a little bit. He does have +1 and blink on the way, but the clock is not in his favor here. Cristiano is already here picking off anything he can get his hands on. He's focusing the Nexus down. If he kills the Nexus, this is going to be a huge win for him. And he's still chipping away at anything he can hit. He's getting Stalkers, very low health Stalkers there. Does pick off one. Sentry goes down. 2 other Stalkers getting shot out of the ground, I guess. I was going to say sky. And yeah, I think we will see a GG shortly here. There's just way too many Stalkers and more reinforcements on the way, I'm sure. And the probes are pulled into the fray. They will start dropping like flies as well. And there's the GG. Cristiano moving on to the round of 4. Well played by both players. And that basically wraps it up for the round of 8. So I hope you guys enjoyed those matches. Hope you get a little taste of what is to come in the round of 4, which we'll be casting tomorrow. We'll probably be starting at the same time, 11 EST. It's kind of the ideal time, as we have players from both NA and Europe often in these tournaments. We can hopefully get these guys to be able to watch. That being said, thanks Destiny Star League for putting the tournament together as always and letting me cast for you guys. A lot of fun today. I think I've seen a little too much Protoss for my liking, but hey, I had 24 hours, a little R&R, and I'll be back tomorrow to finish off the round of 4s and then the finals thereafter. So thanks for stopping by again, Baked Potato, Potato Lord, Kiri, everybody else that tuned in, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow then.